Hello, my name is Pat Simone from Fresno, California, the San Joaquin Valley. Today I'm interviewing Dusty from Kings County Farm Bureau. Hey Dusty, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Hey, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah, I'm Dusty Ference, the Executive Director of the Kings County Farm Bureau. I live over in Tulare County, but work in Kings County. I've got a background as a citrus farm manager and a Farm Bureau volunteer before going to work for Farm Bureau.
Uh-huh. So you're in charge of what, Hanford, Lemoore, Corcoran, yeah, all the biggies and everything. So I was just doing some research and everything, and your population, surprisingly low at 154,000 people.
We're a pretty small county, really.
Yeah, and actually you have 890,000 acres. 818 of those is farmland, which is enormous. And you only have 111 people per square mile living there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a community right there. That's a small community. I was looking through your values and everything, and I came across some stuff. And 2019, your gross value of your ag price was like $2.2 billion.
Yeah.
With a B.
With a B.
Right?
Right.
That's huge.
We're the third largest milk producing county in the state.
Yeah.
And we're in the top 10 overall farm gate values in the state of California.
Yep. Excellent. I was looking at 2018 and stuff, and it showed a slight decrease, but I understand that. And we had fruits and nuts increased like 7%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's probably, that was what, 2018, it's probably even higher now,
Right.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your seed crops increased 16%. Livestock and poultry had the largest decrease, though, in value of 72 million, due to less cattle and poultry sold. So what happened there? Do you know why it decreased?
Dairy prices being what they are,
Right.
The poultry market took a hit. I think the 2020-2021 crop report will show an uptick in poultry production.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I would imagine it says field crops decreased 10.5 million due to lower cotton prices. I would imagine the cotton prices went up because of all the medical cotton uses and stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know about our pricing, but our production is down again this year.
In cotton?
In cotton, yeah. We're the biggest cotton producing county in the state of California.
Oh,
left. And I think in it was 18 or 19, we had 95,000 acres planted to cotton, and we're down around 60,000 acres the last couple of years.
Yeah. You'll get a kick out of this. This is pre-internet, maybe 30 years ago. So I had this guy come in from Yugoslavia, and he was an engineer, and he was going to be a foreign exchange worker or something, and he had a pretty nice resume. And they put him with me, and they said, hey, just take him around, show him. They didn't know what to do with them. And I said, hey, what do you want to do? And he says, I want to look at agriculture because I've never seen it in Yugoslavia, right? So I said, okay. So I put him in the truck, and I just went out to, the west side, and I went out to your county. And I drove out, I said, you ever see cotton? He says, well, cotton. I said, do you know where cotton grows? He says, I didn't know you grew cotton. I said, it comes out of a plant, man. And he's like, really? I said, yeah, we're going to go see it. So we went all the way out to Boswell. And I was showing him, where the cotton was grown and how it was packed up. And I took him to a bale. I said, just kind of punch that bale. I said, don't punch it hard, right? And he was like, whoa. And I said, do you know how much cotton is just compressed in one bale? They're like steel.
Yeah.
And they are heavy.
Heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy. So, he was all like, whoa, and I showed him vines and trees and stuff. And I was going, yeah, this is that. And he got a big kick out of it, because people don't understand what things are. Everybody, and this is my point in all my podcasts and all the county professionals like yourself I talk to. Everybody goes in Costco and they go in Walmart and they shop and stuff, and they think it's grown there.
Yeah, they don't know where it actually comes from.
Yeah, it doesn't. It comes from the hardworking farmers, and it doesn't come from, the air. Costco doesn't grow it. they have this thing called the DC where everything goes, right? And then it's distributed to their stores. So, we really have to help people like yourselves and everything. Yeah, I see milk was your top commodity.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of dairies.
A lot of dairies, yeah.
Okay, so how does the water circumstance affect those dairies?
Oh, I mean, water's crucial.
Yeah.
Cows are living beings. They drink a lot of water, not to mention the water it takes to grow their feed.
Right. So what I understand is in droughts and stuff, they've got to get rid of cattle. So they sell cattle, right?
That can happen, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So because of the drought and stuff, so all of a sudden now next year there's rain and water. You can't just fax yourself a new cattle.
Right.
They're not printed, 3D printed.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, where do you go? I mean, how do you find more cattle? You can't, can you?
Yeah, it's not easy to do.
Yeah, there's just not people hanging out saying, hey, I want to sell you guys, 1,000 head of cattle or something.
Yeah, for dairies it's a little easier because you got to breed cows to keep them milking.
Right.
Where we really run into issues is in the beef market where
like Harris.
Yeah. Cows get sold in the desert, in a drought, and they're butchered, and then the breeding programs slow down, and then it takes 2 or 3 years to recover from that.
Yeah, it's immense, and values go up and down because of that, and people they don't understand. They just go buy their meat, already butchered in the store and stuff.
They have no idea what it takes to get it there.
The dairy work. I've never done dairy work before. I picked stuff when I was a kid, and I did all that with my dad, and I heard that dairy farming was the hardest thing you could do.
Oh, I don't doubt it. It never stops.
Yeah.
The cows don't stop milking because it's Sunday or Christmas. You got to be out there.
It's a 24-hour thing.
7 days a week.
And it's dirty, and it's backbreaking work.
Yeah.
And people love it.
People love it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of agriculture.
That's the
if
beauty.
You're in it, you love it.
Yeah. People are, some people are born to make microchips. Some people are born to feed the United States.
That's right.
And the world. Okay. So I looked at 2019, your top commodities. Milk was 602 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cotton, 248 million. Almonds, 200 million. Pistachios, 181 million. Cattle, 179 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So on your website, this is really interesting to me. I love numbers. I'm a numbers guy. And it said your top 10 50 years ago, your production. Okay. So cotton was 22 million 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Milk was only 20 million. Cattle, 15.5 million. And poultry, this is great. It was 4 million, opposed to 82 million in 2019.
Right.
I mean, that's feeding the world.
That's feeding the world.
Yeah. Now, there's another thing. Before COVID hit, I was at right when it hit, I was at the county farm show.
Okay.
Tulare, farm show. And every year I'd go and everything. But I recognized hemp.
Yeah.
Okay. And they had, right when you go in, there's this huge hemp, deal where they made a big presentation of it. And, you could tell us more about that. But, in 2018, it says hemp restrictions were removed. 17 registrants grew 650 acres of hemp. Now, can you tell me a little bit more about this hemp stuff?
Yeah. In the United States, for the first time in over 80 years, in 2018, hemp was recognized as an agriculture commodity again.
Right.
We think that it was considered a class 1 drug, a class 1 narcotic 80-something years ago as part of a war on drugs. But really, in true hemp, there's no hallucinogenic properties. There's nothing that is mind-altering. And it's a fiber source that can be used for ropes and clothing and concrete and packaging material and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Now, is it kind of a drought-tolerant plant? or does it take water, a lot of water, or how does that go?
You know, it's really interesting. We were told in 2017 and even beyond. It's been 20 years in the making to get hemp recognized as an ag commodity.
Oh yeah,
again.
it's a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah.
What we realized in 2018 is we don't know as much about hemp as we thought we did. We don't really understand the water that it needs in California, or the pest pressures in California, because we haven't grown it here in so long.
Sure.
States like Kentucky and Colorado, they've been growing it with some special considerations by the government, and the varieties that are available in those states, because of their different climates, grow differently. And they do take less water, but it's a more mild temperature, more mild climate.
Right.
We started planting this stuff in the Central Valley where it's 110 degrees in the summertime, and we're learning that we don't know what we don't know about hemp yet in California.
Yeah, I was reading about it, and it requires some special consideration when it's picked, too. They have special machines, these twirling machines. They're really exotic looking.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, wow, you know, you have to mechanize it to make it profitable, right?
Right.
So, yeah, so they came up with these machines, which was very interesting. And, you know, I've been reading them because people say, hey, I want to grow hemp and stuff, you know, I live in Madera foothills.
Okay.
And it's like, you can't grow it here, you know, and some guy, he was from LA and he tried growing, and now it's all dead. And I tried, the pump guy told him, I told him, but, you know, he was kind of a neophyte in farming, you know, and it's like, you got pests, you got squirrels, you know, you got a lot of problems that you have to manage. So, yeah, he tried trellising, and it was like, no, you got to have a 3% grade and do all this water stuff, you know, and pick it and stuff. So it was a big deal. The whole controversy with hemp's a great thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you know, it's a big deal, and we should be doing a lot more of it. And I hope these restrictions are lightened. It's all politics anyway, but it's all due to THC levels. That's what the hallucinogenics that we're talking about,
That's
right?
what it's all about.
So the hallucinogenics, you know, so now they got to do what? They got to get the right seed. Do they need to go out there? Someone's out there checking on it, probably making sure that
There's
THC levels aren't
testing
there.
requirements pre-harvest to make sure that THC levels are less than 0.03% of the flower of the hemp.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like the same thing as a hallucinogenic, you know, marijuana plant, right? So these kids see this stuff and they're like, oh, wow, a big pot farm, and they'll go dig it up. So now you got to put up fences and, you know, this whole thing. Right. So we have to get people educated. No, we aren't growing marijuana out there.
That's right.
We're growing hemp. And I don't know if they get TCBs out of hemp, that oil? I'm not sure.
CBD.
CBD, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of the market in 2018 was grown for. It was grown for hemp flower to be processed for CBD oil.
Right.
The interesting thing about that was not everybody, a lot of people wanted to grow hemp. They didn't have a market to sell it at because we don't have a place to process CBD oil from hemp flower really in California. And because of federal standards, it's tricky to truck this stuff to Colorado or Utah, where they might be able to, primarily Colorado, where they might be able to process hemp flower for oil.
I gotcha. So in California right now, we don't have any processing. You know, that's a big market.
Yeah.
That CBD oil.
Yeah. Processing plants are being built and markets are being developed, but they weren't there in 2018.
Yeah. They have to get it regulated, and they have to do. People don't realize there's a lot of money in this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, not after they get it going. It's getting it going, and doing the ranching, doing the processing, that we're talking about. That's a big investment. No cheap deal.
No.
So I'm glad to see it's going somewhere and it's starting and everything. I was looking at your rainfall because you have it on your website and everything, and it's interesting. And they have the 50-year average at 8.4 inches.
Yeah.
About right.
About right.
Yeah, okay. So I was looking, they got it the years in like 1969, 70, 6 inches, 70, 71, 6 inches, 71, 72, 3 inches, 83, 5 inches, 2006, 2007, 3 inches, 2017, 2018, 4 inches. So our weather fluctuates and our rainfall.
All this rainfall, droughts are cyclical.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess they're due to, volcanic activity underneath the ocean in the Gulf, El Nino, or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't think anyone's 100% positive.
I don't think so.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll just go with that. I was reading about Harris Ranch because, they were one of my customers way back when, and they're enormous.
They're enormous.
Yeah. And they get a lot of grief for stuff, but they have it on their website that they're grass-fed, okay? They're grain-finished, which means if they don't have enough grass, I guess they substitute grain, to finish it, the process. And they have minimal processed beef, which is great. People don't realize either what the USDA is, okay? Yeah. And you laugh about it because you understand it and how they work. They're the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
That's right.
And that's a whole different ball game. So what they do, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm right, they're on site.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, all the time. They have offices at these places, right?
For a lot of places, that big, they do have inspection offices.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have our USDA people actually there testing all the time. So that's the good part of the United States system.
Right.
See? When people say, well, we import stuff, well, what do you import? I mean, do you have a USDA when you're doing your, exporting to us, which is importing, and all that? And people don't realize about all the regulations and everything that are being done on site.
Yeah. All of our food is inspected by the USDA. Beef, citrus, tomatoes, it's all inspected.
Exactly.
It's all tested for pesticide residues and safety and things like that. We truly grow the safest food in the world.
Absolutely. And there's I think an 80-20% distribution in import and exporting and everything, but we need to, keep our food here and it's safe. And then USDA is, part of that being safe. What's going on with the bees? Is anything?
What's going on with bees?
Yeah. So what? Yeah, that's a good question. So I read a little bit. So it's been probably 25 years since I've heard we had a problem with bees, and bees were dying for no reason. And in the winter, I guess the population of bees die, and it was like 24% of the population, and now it's like 45% of the population of bees dying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think anybody has a good answer yet. We've got colony collapse disease that's out there and different things, and there are theories around pesticides and their impacts on bees that, a lot of those haven't been proven yet. Bees are important. We got to take care of them, and we're working to figure out what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing saga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If bees die, we have a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a big problem. So, we got to figure that out. But it's been the same for, like I said, probably 20, 25 years. So I don't know if anybody's got a good grasp, but we need answers on that. I did a little bit of research on water. Well, I did a lot of research on water and everything, and I've always known about it. But you being from Blythe and everything, did you ever hear about the Cadiz water project?
No, I'm not familiar with that
one. I came upon it as a mistake. I mistakenly started reading about it because I'm interested about water, and the agriculture people and everything. And there's this place, and it's in the Mojave Desert. It's 8 miles east of Barstow.
Okay.
Okay, and it's the Cadiz. Valley is what they call it, and they have, I guess they have produce out there and everything that they do. Well, they bought up thousands of acres and they own all the water rights. Okay, so what happens is in the high desert it snows. There's, if you've ever flown from Las Vegas to Fresno, you go over and in the winter and you go, whoa, man, there's a lot of snow in these mountains. Well, it goes into this Cadiz aquifer, and it comes out of like 7,200 elevation, and it goes in this aquifer, and they've got pump systems and everything, and they're able to pump water to LA. Okay, minimizing the amount of the water going to LA now. So you got more water on our side to give to the farming industry. Okay, so what they do is they estimated that their aquifer that is supplied yearly. Okay, so it's not like you're just sucking groundwater out. It's always supplied. Okay, supplies 25,000 acre feet per year, and it's got as much water as Lake Mead.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting because this stuff is hidden.
Yeah.
Okay, and as far as I know it's hidden because I hit news and I'm like, there's not a lot, being, and it should. So when President Trump, I guess, did some executive deal, federal deal, where he opened up the water and it was going to supply Orange County. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they have a pipeline that runs from there all the way up to one of the canals above Bakersfield that supplies the water, and it used to be a gas and oil pipe.
Oh,
okay. So they're not using gas and oil out of it anymore because they're not, producing that. We're taking everything from Saudi Arabia. So they figured, well, we'll just pump water through it.
Sure.
Okay. Well, they got sued by the environmentalists, okay, because now they're using something that was bad, oil and gas, and now they're pumping water through it. So as of April of 2021, they're being sued by all these environmental companies, and they're like, this isn't going to, it's just another thing.
Yeah, another complication. In
yeah,
the
but
water
you
world.
should look into it. Nobody I talk to hears about this. What we do hear about, and is big is, about the Sacramento San Joaquin Delta and the Delta smelt, which with the runoff to the sea is like 45 million acre feet or something. People don't realize either an acre foot is what, 329,000 gallons.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, it's not 329,000 gallons. Yeah. It's a lot more.
It's a lot of water.
Yeah, it's a lot of water. And they, from what I understand, they could put fish hatcheries there.
Yeah.
And actually grow the Delta smelt.
Right.
So there's no excuse. This has been going on forever. Yeah. And it's got to change because,
the Delta smelt is a non-native species in the Delta that we've decided that needs to be protected for some reason.
Absolutely.
Been considered an indicator species, whatever in the world that means.
Yeah.
But we're not giving any consideration for the people of our state. We're more worried about a fish population that's non-native to the Delta.
Absolutely. And if we want to help the smelt out, we can just put a bunch of fish hatcheries out there, right?
Right.
And I mean, come on, we're splitting atoms for nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. We only have like 16 fish hatcheries.
Yeah, we don't have many.
We don't have any. And it's a simple fix. Also, and I was talking to a previous guest who actually, her uncle worked on the Shasta Dam, okay, and raising it like 18 feet would create like a 600,000 acre foot, water supply.
Right.
And they've been working on that for 29, 30 years.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
as much as people in my industry don't want to believe it, and I may catch a little flack for saying it, I don't think we'll ever see another dam built or a dam raised, an existing dam raised. We're going to have to figure out storage on the valley floors.
Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah,
There's
storage.
too much political pressure around the construction of dams or altering of dams.
Yeah. So something like with Fresno, and it was actually a revolutionary deal, is they put in ponding basins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That was, and I never really knew it until I read about it, probably 20 years ago or something. But people from all over the world fly out here just to see this miraculous thing we did with these ponding basins, right? And I was like, Fresno did that? They did something good, But yeah, it's an engineering feat.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is how you collect water, right? So that was pretty neat. I just, want to emphasize, more how important it is for us to give these farmers water, because the pumping is, we can't do that efficiently, I guess, as far as costs. What do you think?
Well, the water, it's frustrating to us because we have the water supplies that we need. If we managed our surface water supplies adequately and properly, our water shortage would go away. But because we're mismanaging our water and allowing so much of it to go out to the ocean, we're not taking care of our people. And I say that not, I talk about mismanaging our water, and I don't say that we're doing that. I don't want to do that to the detriment of our environment. Right?
Exactly.
We continue to pump more water or allow more water to go out to sea through natural channels and not see a benefit to our fish species. So it's not doing the good work that it should be doing, that it's believed it's going to do.
Right.
So let's capture some of that and allow farmers to keep growing, because it's true. We're the salad bowl of the world right here in the Central Valley of California. We feed the entire world, and without us, who's going to do it?
Right.
And who's going to do it to the level of safety that we do?
Absolutely. And that's the biggest issue is, safe food. I want what everybody else does. I want clean air. I want clean water. I don't like littering.
Yeah.
Everybody is on that same point.
Everybody's on that same page.
Yeah. There isn't anybody that wants to hurt the environment, but we have to be good stewards, like you said, and do something. But I think you're right. Instead, they need to build more dams, and they need to build more reservoirs, and they need to do this and that. But I think we're going to have to do something else, like you said.
Agriculture has survived this long because we're nimble and we're creative and we're problem solvers, and it's a new set of problems we have to try and solve.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Is there anything we can do for you out there?
Man.
In the good land?
Yeah. Keep up the good fight. Keep telling people we need water and that water is important.
Right.
It's not just we're not talking about bottom line. We're not talking about profitability for a grower or a landowner. We're talking about, in Kings County, for example, agriculture is our industry. We don't have any hospitality. We don't have any manufacturing to speak of.
Right.
We're not really drilling oil and gas. We're not in that industry. It's agriculture, and agriculture supports that entire community.
Absolutely.
Everybody that works there has a job because of agriculture.
Yeah.
So we're talking about livelihoods. We're talking about human condition. This isn't a fight that we're fighting for growers alone, at least, right? If we don't have growers, we don't have jobs in these places. And then where are all these people going to go?
Right, absolutely. It's a big deal. Plus, we're feeding America.
We're feeding the world.
Yeah, the world. Yeah. So, we need help. And that's what my message is all about the hard work that's done by these farmers. And you're not in Costco. If something happens, you're going to put that shopping cart through those aisles, and that food's not going to be there.
Right.
So, you better start,
We take for granted in the United States that not only do we have the safest food supply in the world, we've also got the cheapest food supply in the world.
Is it the cheapest?
It is. Around the world, most people work, I want to say it's 2.5 or 3 months to pay their food bill for the year. And in the United States, it's a fraction of that.
Is that right?
It is, yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, it is something. They've got to do something. I mean, this is a real dire, subject, and people have to pay attention to what's really going on. I was reading an article, and they were talking about, fast food and all this stuff, and for $1.50 more a day, you can eat a lot better.
Yeah.
Which people need to start understanding how to do too.
Yeah.
Is eating better and what's available. And I think in physical education, they should be teaching nutrition.
It surely wouldn't hurt.
No, because like here in Fresno, it's dropped off. There is no more physical education. Like what we grew up
Right.
with. We grew up with, you had, run a mile, you had to do all this. They don't do that anymore. So what they need to do, if they aren't doing that, they need to start teaching about nutrition because it is physical education.
That's right.
And maybe they should be teaching about how farming works and what kind of good food you should be eating every day and everything, on a consistent diet and everything. It's interesting, we're talking about, people not understanding about food and stuff. I don't know, it's pre-internet. It's been about 30 years ago. My family was in the fig business.
Okay.
So this guy from Pennsylvania calls up and he wants to fly out here and buy some shoots. Okay. So he can plant a fig tree in his house. Okay. And grow it. Right. And he got the name of the our fruit company off a box of figs. Right. So his wife and everything, they flew out to Vegas, and Vegas wasn't his thing. And I've never met this guy. So anyway, they put him with me, So he came out here. He was a real estate guy. And around his eating table with all his buddies, they had figs, and they were from Italy and stuff. And they were like, wow, this is cool. So anyway, he flies out here, and I'm driving him after he wanted to look at some investment properties. And he sees a fig tree. We're in Old Van Ness over here, and he sees a fig tree, and he goes, stop. And I'm like, what? And he gets out, and he goes, now this guy's in a pinstripe suit, okay, because he's from Pennsylvania. He's all out of his element, right? And I'm just like, what are you going to do? And he gets out, and he's all giddy, and he starts climbing this fig tree, and he starts picking figs off and eating them. And I'm like, dude, we're in somebody's yard, right? And here comes the lady. And he looked like John Travolta, only shorter, right? In a pinstripe suit. And she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh. And, they started talking, and it was a big deal. And he's like, you guys grow those? And I was like, yeah. So what he did is he went back to Pennsylvania. He took the shoot. He got a tree, okay? But when winter came, him and his brothers had to dig it up, okay? Get this. They had to dig it up and wrap it and wait for the season to come back, and then they would replant it. So he did that enough times till the tree got bigger, and then he was like, what do I do? So he takes and he builds an atrium in his house for it.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was like, I can't believe this place, because he's from Eastern Pennsylvania. They don't grow food.
No.
They don't know. It's pre-internet. They don't know what's going on, And I'm like, dude, these things are all over the place, It's kind of like hemp, hemp grows out in like you said, what was it, Kentucky and everything. It just grows wild, and here, it's a whole different deal and everything.
Yeah, we're extremely fortunate to be in California. We really got it all. We grow I think it was 413 different crops at last count in California, and there's no other state in our nation that has near that kind of diversity.
How much do we supply out of California? Do you know?
Depending on crop. I mean, some of our nut crops, almonds, for example, we're 90 or 95% of the U.S. industry. Pistachios are up there somewhere. Citrus, we're 80 or 90% of the fresh citrus, the stuff you eat. Texas and Florida have some, but mostly juice out of Florida.
Right.
Tomatoes were up there pretty high. It's a lot.
God. Yeah, it's tremendous how much California. These people in L.A. and stuff, and San Francisco, they're like, we don't see. I was fortunate enough to know a person who had a limousine company in Napa. Okay, so he knew all the wine places, and he knew them. They were buddies because all the limos, they'd do a tour.
Yeah.
Right. So he says, "Hey, you want to go? We're going to go on, a special tour and stuff. I'm going to go see all my." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll go with you." So he says, "You got to dress up." Okay, and I said, "Okay." He goes, "And wear really nice socks." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay." So I dress all up, get in the limo, and I go, "Where are we going?" He goes, "We're going to go on a yacht." I said, "Yacht, right?" Because I lived in San Francisco. I lived in Marin County, actually.
Yeah.
San Rafael. And so we drive out to San Francisco, and we get on this yacht. I'm like, "Whoa, dude, this is really cool. Whose is this?" "Well, it belongs to Ferrari." And I'm like, "Ferrari, right?" So we take this yacht deal, and we're drinking his wine and everything. We do this loop out there in the bay. We get back in the limo, and we go to this champagne winery, and I don't even know where it was because I'm in a limo.
Yeah.
And there's 7 people in there, right? And I'm like drinking, at 10, it's something. So we end up at this really nice place. And we went in these caves, and they had barrel. It was a champagne. He goes, "This is the best champagne made out here."
Yeah.
And they have microclimates, I guess. That's what Napa's all about, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So we go in this cave, and then this gal comes out, and here comes this butler guy with this silver tray. Now, I'm from Fresno. I'm a beer guy, right? I don't know. So he comes out with this silver tray, and he's got these crystal glasses full of champagne. I take one, and I go, "Whoa, this is really good."
Yeah.
And it's just, and the owner of the limousine company, that my friend, I says, "Is there more?" Right? And he goes, "Do you know how much that cost?" And I'm like, "No." And he goes, "Dude, that was like $100." Whoa, And this gal comes out, and she does this. It was like a play. She puts on a play for people and everything.
All right.
Yeah, and it was like, whoa. So I learned all about. I never did that before.
Yeah.
So I learned all about the Napa Valley and the way I was looking at the wineries, and I was like, "These aren't real wineries," right? And he was like, "Don't say anything." I'm like, "Everything's so clean here," And, "So how many acres are you?" And they're like, "Oh, we got like, 20 or 40 acres here." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
That's not a winery where I come from.
Right.
Where I come from, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, I got a big kick out of that. And I was, he was like, "Well, what are you used to?" I said, "Real wineries where there's hundreds of machines, everything's dirty, it smells, and everything." And, he was laughing. He goes, "Oh, no, this is, it's a..." Have you ever been to Napa and seen that before?
I haven't been
You
wine
gotta
tasting
go.
in Napa.
Yeah, you got to go. It's a show.
Yeah.
It's really something. They have all the vines, the way they're tied up and everything. It's really a neat thing. But I had a bunch of customers out there, and they were DCs, right?
Okay, yeah.
And it was like 1 million square feet of barrels. And I was
Wow.
like, where are these barrels going?
Uh-huh.
To these wineries, and you're just like, well, and some of them they had caged off.
Okay.
And I was like, "So what are the barrels in the cages?" He goes, "Oh, that's the real expensive stuff." They didn't want people handling
Sure.
and stuff. They'd only pull it out for, special occasions and everything. Well, I imagine we're going to wrap it up, and I really appreciate you coming.
This was great. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm really impressed with all of you Farm Bureau
Great.
people.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are doing a great job and spreading the word and everything, and
you.
letting people like myself help you out.
Yeah, we need help. We can't talk to ourselves. We need a new audience.
Oh, absolutely. Anyway, pleasure.
Likewise.
I'm Pat Simone. Thanks for watching. Please like and donate $5 to $10 to my Patreon account. It'll help and expand my network.